I'll jump right in and ask about net zero skyscrapers. We've seen net zero on a smaller scale, but what are some of the most promising technologies that might enable net zero energy skyscrapers, or do you even think that's an attainable goal or a desirable one?
I think with the advancement in technology, we will get there someday. But I think there's also another possibility which we have been looking at is how buildings can work together.
So it sounds like you're talking about individual developments pooling their resources, namely
space. I think you can start with, maybe it has to be larger developments where you have a series of towers. And the series of towers could actually be used to connect a larger canopy or a larger platform where all these solar panels could be fitted on.
You've sort of started alluding to it, but what would your ideal future city look like?
The way forward isn't to continue with a two-dimensional master planning where the cities can only grow sideways, but we have to actually think of ways in which we can actually grow it three-dimensionally. We are obviously in the conference of talking about skyscrapers, and I personally subscribe to the thinking that the only way the city can go is upwards.
So you're talking also about a much more deferential kind of skyscraper, one that literally supports the rest of the urban fabric.
Absolutely. I think that's where I think skyscrapers can do more than just being themselves, and I think it can be part of a larger whole. And I would like to see that vision somehow being tested and studied and talked about a little bit more.
And if we do grow up, we're going to need to use skyscrapers for all kinds of buildings. Are there uses of tall buildings that you feel have been underexplored to date?
I certainly think so, and that's where my point is. I think everyone has to work together in the future city, and we can't think of buildings, skyscrapers just being beautiful objects standing on the ground as a piece of sculpture, but maybe the high-rise building, the tower, has to become a column, and they actually support horizontal city conduits where you actually have people movers. You have mixed use, and it also supports a larger horizontal areas where you can use for farming, and you can use for recreation, and the whole. All buildings, whether they are just one level or multiple levels, can be designed as if they are part of a whole. So that's where we decided the idea of actually using the tall buildings as columns and try to stack them and use them to support horizontal datums that could be for city conduits, it could be for mixed use, it could actually be moving services and things, and then create the whole notion of a matrix where people not only go up and down the building, but they actually go up using the building. They could move horizontally with the people movers and then go up. So it's like a snake and ladder game on the chessboard, but three-dimensional. So you actually compose this whole city of city columns and city conduits, and people actually move and live in this matrix, this lattice city, without having to actually touch ground. And the ground actually lightly touched ground, and the ground level was really reserved for nature, for wildlife and landscape, and the humans only inhabited actually live above. And I think that was something that we thought we needed to really test, and that we created this whole matrix. And at the end of the day, we realized that to create the kind of density, we will be building no taller than the tallest building in the world, Burj Khalifa. So within that same height, by creating that kind of density, we actually managed to create, we think, still a very livable city. People had enough fresh air, enough sunlight, and enough space, and enough, at the end of the day, for us, the breathing space required for people.
So maybe we've gone as high as we need to go already.
Yeah, perhaps so, actually. But I think we need to now think within the technology of the height that we have attained, how we could actually intensify the city, rather than to build tall and taller buildings.